You know, whatever.
Okay, we're live.
This is off air. We're live, live.
We're live, live.
You sure about that? Mine says
hmm
off air. I mean, I believe you, but I don't believe you. Is what I'm saying.
It should be like, okay, I'm looking at the top right hand corner and I see a giant yellow sign and it says live. So
Okay.
that's what makes me
Oh,
believe that we're live.
okay. Mine just went yellow and says live.
Oh, yay.
All right, so delayed.
Delayed
Um.
live.
All right. Well, for the audio format of this, I suppose, are you gonna do an audio format of this too, or just
Yeah, I
straight
would
up?
love to. I
This is
want
a
to get it up on the live stream and put it up on the website also.
okay. Um. And see, I'm looking at you, but should I look at the camera or should I look at you? Because that's kind of camera,
Okay, look at the camera.
camera,
Okay, look at me.
looking at you.
Exactly the same.
Okay. So you're saying on my
There is no
phone that
difference in
the
either
half a centimeter doesn't make a difference? Okay.
Nope.
All right. All right. Well, let's get this ball rolling. Scratch my
All
nose.
right.
Welcome to the first unofficial episode, maybe official. I don't know. Javis might be on it. I might be on it. We'll see. The first official episode of Select Press Start, the
Woo!
reboot version 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah, the first one was a. How long did we do that for? Like a year almost. We
It was
did it for a
almost a
while.
year.
Yeah, we did it for a while. We were on episode like 23 or 24, something like that.
Nice.
Anyways, so we did a full-fledged, full-on, like 40-minute, 50-minute, almost an hour every week show, and then life caught up. And I mean, I'm
As it
sure
does.
anyone who has been alive on this crazy world will know just things happen.
Uh,
And but yeah, now we're in a position where we just kind of want to get our hobbies out there and you know see where the wind will take us. But anyways, on this theoretically shortened version, we're going to be talking about trailers, be it video games or movies or anything that piques our interest, essentially. But it's supposed to be a condensed version. I've said that before, and it's turned into like a whole ordeal. So we'll see how that
I mean,
goes.
I feel like when it comes to I'm way too close. When it comes to like nerds
Not
talking
far.
about what they love or and just people in general talking about their passions, I think you start out with like a set time limit, and then you're just like, well, I hate Power Rangers, and then you're just like, oh, we're gonna be here a while.
Yeah.
But I think that's just how it goes sometimes. I know that tonight we definitely wanted to talk about two game trailers that recently came out. And then we're just going to go from there. So I want to start off with David's Street Fighter because I really want to talk about mine more. So I'm going to save that for last. So
Okay.
your Street Fighter trailer that you were.
Yeah, we have a fighting game themed trailer showcase. It seems like.
Yeah.
So so to start it off, I guess Rainbow Micah, the character so Street Fighter V is a game coming out for the PlayStation 4 and the PC, which is strange because, well, I mean, it's not so strange that it's coming out on PC, but it's going to be most of the development was directly paid for by Sony,
Really?
so it's not coming out on Xbox at all. I'm pretty sure about that. And yeah, it's gonna have like cross-play support, so you can play people on PC with people on PS4. So I mean, it should be pretty interesting. I think it's the first time that that's really been undertaken, at least certainly for a fighting game. Like I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy 14 does it with PlayStation 3 and the PC, and maybe even Xbox. I'm not sure. But coming out next year, it's definitely not a 2015 title. So 2016, and the way that they've been giving out trailers for the game is basically they'll have a character reveal. So far there've been like 7 or 8 character reveals, and the last two, which I gave you links to, were for Rainbow Micah, which anybody who played like the Alpha series on PS1 and Super Nintendo, she's like a well-figured, buxom wrestler, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you saw the trailer. She's a little
Oh,
bit scantily clad, and
yeah.
there's her and there's Nikali, which I'm not sure if you saw that one too, but but yes, what's your initial impressions?
Of that video, I mean, for me, it's like classic Street Fighter. I mean, everyone remember. I mean, even back in like the '90s, Chun Li was always wearing next to nothing. And you look back at, oh my gosh, I was just talking to someone about the. Remember they did the animated movie of Street Fighter, but
Oh
like,
yeah, Street Fighter 2.
yes, and
Are you
like,
going to talk about this the Chung Li shower scene?
yes, like, okay, everyone, but that's the thing. That's the only big thing everyone remembers about that movie. Like, I wasn't even gonna like all I said was, Street Fighter animated movie, and your mind immediately went there, as everyone's mind does. Like, it's the most known scene because even people that aren't into the whole Chun Li in the shower part, Chun Li fighting Vega part is just as freaking awesome. And so, but yeah, no, I kind of geeked out because I feel like there's a bit of nostalgia going there because of everything that Street Fighter represents to us that are between 20 and 35.
Pretty big group there.
Yeah. Without giving out my age, between 20 and 35, that remember when Street Fighter, was, in the 90s, and you had the video games back then where, in between every stage, you would do these little missions and things, and you would attack a car for no known reason at all to gain points or coins, or I don't remember what they gave you, but,
It didn't even matter. It was just like a little competition between friends between the matches. Yeah.
that is so fun.
Let's go over some history real quick. Now, so you played the Street Fighter series starting with 2 or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think the other ones I might have been a little bit too young for, but I think it might have been 2, because if that was the one where you attack cars in the middle of stages,
Yeah,
that's the one I
pretty
grew up
sure.
with. That's the one that that my brothers constantly played, and even when other ones came out, that one was still popular for us.
Yeah. Did you transition to the next ones like year after year, or did you kind of?
No, no. The only ones we did that with, I'm trying to think, was well, of course, Madden. And well, they did Madden. I was not into it. I'm not a sports guy, but
Hail
there.
Mary.
You say what?
Just Hail Mary. That's all I do sometimes.
That's all you always got to do. But no, the it was I think it was Mortal Kombat. We were always into the Mortal Kombats, but Street Fighter was one where we had the older one, and that was it. But Tekken, oh my God, we bought every Tekken, we bought
Yeah.
every Mortal Kombat, and yeah, Street Fighter was, you had your class, and everything else just was not as good as that.
Yeah. So I mean,
Kind of
okay.
like trying to like 007 James Bond. There will never be another James Bond game that's as good as 007.
Right. So just to jump into some of the fighting game history, Street Fighter, I mean, it kind of changed the world. Like there were other fighting games like Capcom versus SNK, King of Fighters. They were big, but they were big in their communities, not really like a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
So fighting games kind of blew up because of Street Fighter. Like they just like everyone started doing fighting games. Like you had like even to the point where you had what is it called Erguys. I don't know if you're familiar with that. For the
No.
PlayStation 1, it was like a Final Fantasy fighting game. Like everybody was doing fighting games from like the 1990s until about like the mid 2000s when they
Yeah.
kind of collapsed on themselves. So it was almost like Capcom's own fault. Capcom being the developer behind Street Fighter, because they made Street Fighter. They did this thing where they would iterate on the game like every single year with a new version, because there was Street Fighter 2, and then there was like Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then there was like Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, and
Yeah.
it's Super Street Fighter 2, and then Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, and 3, and then Street Fighter. I mean, there must have been 50 variations of Street Fighter just in the last 10, 15 years. So around the time when 3 came out, Third Strike, it started losing a little bit of the the appeal, I guess. Like the mass
Yeah.
market just wasn't really going for all the fighting games, and people just didn't care about Street Fighter or really any fighting games for the longest time. And
Yeah.
then Street Fighter 4 came out, like I mean, it must have been like 5 years ago now. Street Fighter 4 came out, and it just reinvigorated everything. And suddenly, again, we have all these fighting games coming out, like the Killer Instinct game for the Xbox One. Um, I mean, it's just a new world of Skullgirls is a pretty big one that came out fairly recently in the last couple of years. I mean, it's a whole
Even the new Mortal
rejuvenation.
Kombat, like
Oh
that,
yeah,
that took off. And like I completely agree, because I remember hearing, like, I never really bought them or checked them out, but I remember hearing all of those as you bring up the names of the Street Fighters. I remember hearing, that Street Fighters come out, and I would check into it, and it looked exactly like, the Street Fighter from 4 or 5 games ago, and I was just like, oh well, I'm not really into it. And I remember when Street Fighter 4 was coming out and the hype about it, and I was just like, oh, it's coming back, as if they hadn't been coming out with one year after year. But for some strange reason, that one, really, I agree, it really blew it back up for them.
yeah.
And I remember, biggest thing for me is, I don't think that Street Fighter in itself was the popular game um, for my family. Like any of the Street Fighter games, I was trying to think back and realize why, Vega and Ryu and all of the characters, why they were so famous for us. And then you started talking about the names, and I realized it was Marvel versus Capcom
Yeah.
that blew those characters up for us. Like, we loved them as, just Street Fighter, but then when we started playing that was the kicker for us. That was just like the thing where we were just like, okay, we love them now.
Yeah, yeah. And I I really, I mean, I haven't played a great deal of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but the the newer one, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, came out for like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and that was just a little bit too much for me. It was like, it's, like if you don't know what's going on, it's just like flashy. I don't even know what's happening on the screen.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
just like fireballs and flashes of light and rainbow. I
Storms
mean,
or lightning bolts just come down and just like go all over the stage, and it was
yeah,
chaotic. It was really fun. It was definitely made for 5-year-olds.
yeah. um, yeah, but so I mean, Street Fighter 4, what is this? 5. Street Fighter 5. So this is the newest one. It's coming out next year. Um, I mean, a lot of people when it was first announced were kind of off put about it because like at first glance, like the first character they introduced, which I guess they have to because it's a new Street Fighter, is Ryu or Ryu or whatever you prefer to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
But the first character they showed off was Ryu, and he looked pretty much exactly the same as the last Street Fighter game. Because like one of the big things about Street Fighter is every single time they release a new one, it has like a whole new art style. It's kind of like something that differentiates it from like all the other fighting games. Like a whole bunch of like all the competitors, for the most part, they all pretty much look like the same. They have the same art style. But
yeah,
something interesting to keep Street Fighter fresh was every single time they released a new one, was it always looked completely different from the last one. So when Street Fighter 5 was announced, it looked almost exactly the same at the very first impression. But every time they release one of these new trailers for these new characters, they show that like each character kind of has a slightly different art style. It's not like a uniform thing. Like they had this weird cell shaded thing going on with Street Fighter 4, where every character kind of had the same kind of cell looking art style. But like, did you watch the Nikali one? The dude with the red hair was glowing
yeah.
everywhere.
That was insane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was
So
absolutely insane.
it's gonna look a lot different than the last one, even though it has the same sort of overall art style. Like there's a lot of improvements to the engine. Everything just looks more crisp. I mean, I don't know, if you look at it in detail, like you'll see the differences, and it looks amazing. It's going to be something I'm going to be playing probably a ton of when it comes out. They have these stress tests they're doing right now. It's kind of hard to get in and actually play the game just because there's so much, you know, thousands of people around the world are trying to do it at the exact same time. So
Right.
it's a little bit of a problem, but it's something that I'm looking forward to. Pretty much going to be occupying most of my year, fighting game wise, was going to be Street Fighter Five.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool that people are still into it. I feel like they're in a good position to release something like this soon. And even though it's 2016, I feel like people are still on the heels of the Mortal Kombat game, and I think that I think they've given it enough time, because I feel like games are kind of like they're getting to the point where it's just like movies, you know, whereas in it could be a really great movie, but if it comes out at the wrong time, then people are gonna pass over it. And
Oh yeah, that's why they have like sometimes they'll push things back like months just because of like a little publisher is going to announce something, but then some big guy comes up and says, "Oh yeah, we're coming out in November." Well, I guess we'll move ours back to next year.
yeah, we're gonna wait on
Yeah.
that. We're gonna, and so that's how I feel like they've chosen a really great time because people are still into it, and that was proven with Mortal Kombat. I've never seen so many people go crazy over a game the way people went crazy over Mortal Kombat this past one, and I knew it was coming out, but I just didn't think that I didn't think it was gonna get the drive and the momentum that it did, and I'm really happy that it did, because it was a phenomenal game. And I felt like it deserved it, and it looks like Street Fighter is shaping up to be the exact same way.
Yeah. Now they haven't the guys that did not Street Fighter, but the guys that did Mortal Kombat. I think they're like NetherRealm. They did the DC fighting game. DC, what's like Injustice? Gods Among
Injustice,
Us. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So they haven't like officially announced Injustice 2, but since they just finished Mortal Kombat X, I mean it's what they're working on. Like they haven't officially announced it or anything, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah.
That's really super cool. I didn't know that they were the same people, and it shows too. The graphics,
Yeah.
everything that they were able to bring to Mortal Kombat, and everything they did with Injustice. That's pretty freaking cool. And if you can't tell, I am a Superman fan. I don't know how you would have been able to tell if I didn't say anything, but
Even though he's the bad guy in Injustice, come on.
oh, I don't care. I just want to see him. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty really that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So 2016, I think, is also when your game was coming out, early 2016. What is that again?
The Pokken Tournament, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Don't beat me up, Pokemon fans. You have been known to do that. But you know, Pokken Tournament is pretty cool. I always felt like it was about time, because it's cool for me because I grew up being a Pokemon fan, and then you know, the games came out, and the games came out from when it was Game Boy. I remember Game Boy Color came out, and it blew my mind. It blew everybody's mind. And looking back on it, Game Boy Color only really had like one or two colors, and it like it wasn't really colorful. It was just like, oh my gosh, I can see green, and it's just like,
Yeah.
and that was the only color. But like, I mean, it was Game Boy Color, and that's what, you know, Pokemon was premiered on, and it had, you know, the red, blue. You could be red, blue, or I think they had yellow too, red, blue, and yellow cases. And okay, Pokemon fans, here's where you're about to hate me. It's the same freaking game, and it's over and over again. Now, the first time I played it, I loved it. And then they're just like, oh, now it's Pokemon, and you have, you know, green and purple now. And you're just like, oh my God, I got to go get it. You know, it's going to be a whole different game. And it wasn't. It wasn't. It was the same game, and they were just like, "Oh, but there's different Pokemon in this one." And I was just like, "Okay, well, I'll go catch those two." And then they're just like, "Oh, but now it's Pokemon X and Y," and you're just like, "Why? Like, why are we still doing it?" And so then it continued on, and now Pokemon fans will argue you down that the storyline has changed and that everything is different. And I believe it that they've changed a lot in it. But at the same time, you're still walking around looking for Pokemon. You're still going to go through the grass, you know, and at some point in time, it's going to turn into a battle. You know, there are certain people that you can't pass by without the giant question mark or an exclamation point jumping above your head, and then you have to go into a fight. Snorlax is still asleep in front of the cave, and you're just like, why, Snorlax, are you still asleep? And it's just like little things like that that I was just
Jay, let me put a stop on this real quick. All
okay.
right, I'm confused. Do you like Pokemon? Because you're the one who picked this game.
I know, and that's the thing about it is I picked this game simply because for years and years I was upset that they never changed the format of this game, and they had millions of fans that were on board for this game that they didn't do anything with, and that's my biggest problem with Nintendo is that they'll do something groundbreaking and then they'll do nothing for like 20 years, and they'll just keep the same format and change a little bit here and there, and that's pretty much it because they won't step outside of the box, or it just takes them forever to step outside of the box. So meanwhile, I mean, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are just spinning circles around them until they decide to do something else and tear everything else down. Now, I believe Pokken Tournament is that game that's going to tear everything else down, that game that's going to destroy everything else out of the water because Pokemon fans are insane and they were going to buy it regardless of whether it was good or not, but it's actually good. And this game uses a completely separate format. No longer is your opponent waiting for you to choose an attack. You know, no longer, you know, are you sitting on the sidelines wondering, you know, should I use this or this, you know, attack or that attack, or what's this going to do? There's no time for that. You attack. You become the Pokemon. You are attacking. You use your joystick or, you know, Wii U remote thing, and you actually attack the other opponent and they attack you, and it's a constant fight, and it's not I guess you would call it turn-based style as it used to be, where, you know, you would choose an attack and they would attack and it was just like, oh, your attack missed, but it's their turn now. And it's just like, I'm a little bit, and I'm not making fun of that style. I'm just saying that they did it for so long that even Final Fantasy was just like, okay, we're done. We're doing something different. And they're still on it. And so I'm really excited about this game because it takes away that turn-based style and says, okay, all these games are now centered around you controlling the opponent and you controlling everything about them and using your knowledge and their attacks to attack. And they're able to do that. They do it in a 2015 graphics way. And if you haven't seen the trailer for this, you have to go. Better yet, go see the Japanese trailer of the Gengar fight because Gengar just lays waste, and it's so cool to see your favorite Pokemon fight. The best thing about it is the fact that I don't know. Okay, no, that was something different that I saw because recently we got the Pokemon Monopoly in store, which is really cool. And the best thing about it is the fact that it's the original 150, which is my universe.
The ones that you actually know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that we all memorized the rap to when they did it at the end of the Pokemon episodes. But yeah, and so yeah, this Pokemon, I think that this is really going to be groundbreaking. There's a lot of ways that it could really screw up. There's a lot of things that they could really get wrong, but from the trailers, I don't think they have, and I don't think they will. I think they waited a good amount of time to really piece together a fantastic game, and this could be something that's just as huge as Smash Brothers. You know, Smash Brothers with Nintendo, you know, they're at the point now where they have Smash Brothers conventions. I know this because I went to the last one.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is another one of those things to where, like, even if it starts off slow, I think it's going to gain momentum to the point where people will have full tournament. I mean, it's called Pokken Tournament. They basically crafted the name of this game after the fact that it's going to be a con at some point. And so I think that people are really going to enjoy this game.
I gotta say, I didn't even. I'd heard the name Pokken Tournament, like just visiting various forums or whatever, but I didn't actually bother to ever click on to see what it was. I guess I'm not like the biggest Pokemon fan, which is weird because I've tried a bunch of times to get into Pokemon, like I bought as a gift the DS Lite, I guess, and Pokemon X and Y,
Mm.
and then most recently as another gift I got for someone to put the Nintendo DS, the 3DS, and then I also got Pokemon Black, and every time I try one of them out, and I think it's just not my cup of tea, but like you said, like it's kind of like it's more or less like it's the fighting style for me in the core games. You pick a little like attack, whether it's just it's very simple. Like there's only four little choices, and then your opponent picks a choice, and you pick a choice. It's not really fast paced. It's kind
And,
of slow, as a matter of fact.
and
But
my biggest thing is the fact that all of that would be fine if you didn't throw everything that you don't like in it at once. I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, then I feel like you should be able to use your entire arsenal of Pokemon. But still, to this day, they're trying to, even though people don't fight like that. They're just like, well, we want to make it realistic, so you can only have 5 Pokemon in your pack because that's how much he would be able to hold in a backpack. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I can't even use my full arsenal of Pokemon. I can only use 5 or however many he can hold in his backpack at the time. And it's really frustrating. It just got really frustrating for me. But to this day, I have friends that walk around with every new game like this, like down the mall,
yeah,
and I'm just like, you're 30 years old and you're Pokemon. Like they love it. Everybody
it's
loves it.
definitely it's definitely a seller. Like I used to work at GameStop 15 years ago. Well, not
Really?
15. Oh shit, almost 15 years ago. It was a long time ago. Anyways, I used to work in GameStop back
How
then,
old are you?
and I'm almost 30, Jay. Like I'm
What?
28 right now. Yeah. Anyways, I
I'm
used
a,
to work back there, and like every time a new Pokemon game would come out, every time they would sell and sell and sell. It was around the same time that the Wii came out, like the original, not the Wii U, but the Wii, the actual Wii.
yeah.
And I mean, it was one of those things. Like every single day, like you'd get in like 4 or 5, and they'd sell out in a second. And the same thing was for the Pokemon games. Like you'd get in, except it was like triple, quadruple. You get in like 50 copies a day, and they'd sell out. So people love them some Pokemon.
God.
No question about it. It's not quite something for me. But to get back on topic, I guess. So this new Pokemon game, Pokken Tournament, it's not at all a traditional game. There's no, as far
No.
as I can tell, I only saw the trailer. There's no like story, like like overall story. There might be like an arcade mode kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it's basically like a 3D grid sphere arena that you run around, and you pick what Pokemon you want to have, and you fight it out, sort of like a Dragon Ball Z or a One Piece. Like there's been a few, I think Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. No, there's just a pretty high profile DBZ game that just came out. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the same similar style. You have a big arena and you just run around and shoot fireballs at each other, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be, and the thing is that those do really well. Like people love that. It's all about the fan service, and I think Pokemon is really like the guys that make Pokemon know how to work their fans, so they're probably gonna sell gangbusters in this game. And everybody's had their dream fight of Charizard versus whatever Staryu,
Yeah.
and it looks like you can finally, in a full 3D world, actually live that out. So I mean, for what it's worth, I know that Pokemon. What's the N64 game that came out? Pokemon Tournament. Was it the same title? You don't know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
There was a Nintendo 64 game that came out, and it was like a Pokemon. It wasn't the adventure RPG thing. It was like a Pokemon battle tournament, something like that. Anyways, but it was the same
Was it
kind of. You
Pokemon
still picked
Snap?
your.
The one where you take pictures of the
No, it wasn't a pick. It was a
That was
fighting game. It
so
was a
much fun.
tournament game.
You see, like
But it was
I'll
it
check
was the
that
same. It
game
was the same thing.
decide to break the mold. Like I was just like, I'm done with Pokemon. And then they're like Pokemon Snap, and I'm just like, I'm all on board with this. And so it's just
People
go ahead.
people ate that one up too. Pokemon Snap. But so this new one, you know, it's something that fans are going to eat up, and just being able to live out your dream little scenario. I mean, it's going to sell lots of copies, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's one of those games where and Nintendo does this really well. Like I don't know why they don't do it more often, to where they just they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna do something completely different. They did it with Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts came out and just blew everyone. Well, Square Enix, I should say. But but Nintendo decided to house it, and they're just like, okay, well, you know, we'll bring that over here. And so I just feel like. Um, Games like this are really what I game for. You know, I don't game for the game that's going to, even though I love some of them, the game that's going to continue on and be the exact same thing every single game, and change a few things up and try to make you believe that it's completely different when it's not. Assassin's Creed. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm the gamer for the games that kind of break the mold, you know, and a game that's going to be something that is completely different. That's the game that I want to play, and that's why I'm so into indie developers for games right now. Indie, yeah, because I feel like their lives are to create something different, to create something unique, something that you, even if it doesn't have the same graphics as Halo, or even if it doesn't have the same open world as The Witcher 3, it's going to be something that you're not going to forget. And shout out to Five Nights at Freddy's. And so just different games that are really going to do that, and those are the ones that I like checking out. Those are the ones I like checking into. And I think Pokken Tournament is going to be one of those games. I mean, just think about it. Like the fact that they've changed the style of Pokemon, now they could totally do a Pokemon adventure game where it follows a storyline, and when you battle, you go into a battle like that. That's gonna sell off the show. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, people like things that are different. I think this is something that not even, you know, people that check out Pokemon every couple years like me could get into. But I think this is something that Pokemon fans, diehard fans, have been asking for a really long time, and they finally got it.
Yeah, you know, just to add a little bit to what you were saying, I mean, in my current situation, my current just life the way it is, like I have a son, okay, I have a family.
What? You're a
He,
dad?
he's yeah, he's gonna start kindergarten soon, and I
Oh,
mean it's just like between work and everything, you run out of time to play all the stuff that you used to love to play.
yeah.
And I find, especially lately, like I haven't played a lot of games in the last 2 years, but I find that lately, like the stuff that I do want to go out and seek out and play is a lot of the things that I have nostalgia for. So like the idea of going back, and because I mean everyone grew. I mean not everyone, of course, but tons of people grew up with Pokemon, and people who had those fantasies as little 10, 15-year olds of doing this and that, but you really couldn't back in the day just because of the limitations of the graphics or the systems or the controls, just two buttons on the Game
Yeah.
Boys. It's one of those things that will draw people back in. I mean, just like right now, the stuff that's got me interested in gaming right now, like Street Fighter Five. Okay, I grew up with Street Fighter, of course. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain is coming out in like a week. That's got me interested just because I've grown up with Snake for the last 15 years or so. So it's great to see like that whole story arc close out. Just those nostalgia is a big thing. It's a big thing
I
for
mean,
what sells games, I think.
I'm right on board with you. I mean, my brother bought me an Xbox One for Christmas. The very first game that I played was the free game that they give you for gold, which was Rayman. And it was the new edition of Rayman, and I was just like, I had a couple games, like I had Halo, the Master Chief Collection. I had a couple of other ones that were suited and crafted for Xbox One, and I was just like, no, let's do Rayman. And that was the very first game that I played and beat every single stage on there. I went ham for Rayman, and it was really, really it was the greatest thing in the world, and then I downloaded Netflix. That was the next thing I did on my Xbox. I think Netflix was the first thing I did on my Xbox. So like, I mean, it's just like, as I completely get what you're saying, because there are just certain things that that you're going to go for at this age of your life, where you're just like, I can't play every single game. So nostalgia is, if I'm going to play a game, I want to know I'm going to love it. And yeah, and at the end of the day, it's the old stuff that you loved as a kid that you're going to go back and watch. On a side note, or play. On a side note, I applaud Xbox for now making achievements outside of games, because I feel like,
outside of games.
yes, outside of regular video games, Xbox One has created achievements for everything you do involving the Xbox One. I watched Friends for 3 days in a row, and I got the couch potato achievement popped up on my Xbox One, and I was very proud of myself when I got
as
that.
one should be.
and so yeah, they within Netflix, they have created achievements if you watch a certain amount of shows, or if you watch one show for so long, or if you watch so many shows in one sitting. Like, they have achievements for every app that comes with the Xbox One, or that you download from the Xbox One, which I think is brilliant, because I feel like I should get an achievement for watching all 10 seasons of Friends in a month. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, especially being older. Everything that I do with my Xbox One is not always going to be gaming. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, watching Friends on your Xbox One at night. Okay, cool.
Yep.
10 seasons worth.
It got to the point
anyways.
that my family started singing the theme song to Friends, not because they were watching it, but because every single time they passed by my room, it was playing.
You really need to get a pair of headphones. Christmas list for Jay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, games. They're still cool. Which is, you were talking about Rayman. I don't know. I think there's 2 Rayman that were fairly recent. But I definitely want to play Rayman on our next game night. Well, one of our game nights. We gotta have a video game night.
Yeah,
one of our go-tos.
That would be it.
Anyways, though, yeah, video games are still cool, and they're gonna be around next week probably, or the week after, when there'll be some cool new trailers coming out. So
anybody that has because apparently it was a game for a really long time. Before we head out, because we're nearing the end, there's a game called Smite, and I don't know if everyone has heard of it, but anytime you hear the word Smite, you may also hear people talk about League of Legends as well, because it's that style of gaming created for, I don't know. I don't think it was created for the Xbox One. I think it may have started on PC and gone from there.
League of Legends was definitely PC centric, yeah.
Yes, League of Legends definitely PC, and but Smite may have started on PC, but it's now free on Xbox One if you have the Gold membership. But Smite it's very interesting, because my nephew started playing it, and then I started playing it, but I couldn't get past the tutorial, and I was just like, how in the world did my 13-year-old nephews, not only get past the tutorial, but they're playing with other people online and laying waste to them. And I was just like, how is this happening that I can't get past it? And then I gave it another try the other night, and I got past the tutorial, and it was the greatest feeling in the world. And then I went into a 3v3 tournament, and my team, who I've never met before in my life, the 3 of us, we lost, but we came really, really close. We came really close, and it just filled me with such excitement. But Smite is basically, it's one of those games where, you can, it's nothing but attacking. There's no adventure. There's no anything like that. It's nothing but set up tournament style gaming. But they have these huge arenas, and you could be an assortment of characters. Where I think there's like 80 or something like that. Just like League of Legends, there's tons of characters. They all do different things. But the difference with League of Legends and Smite is Smite's characters are all gods and goddesses of whatever culture they came from. So you have the Greek gods, and you have the Norse gods, and then you have the different people that you've never even heard. You have the Egyptian gods, and then you have different people you've never heard of. Like there's one dude that I really, really like. He's the king of bees, or he's the god of bees. And you think to yourself, that sounds really stupid. But then you play his character, and not only does he have swarms of bees that he can thrust up on you, but also he plants beehives in the middle of stages and activates them as you walk by. And then now all of a sudden you're infected with this bees, and like you have your special attack that you have to wait for it to load up, and then you can cast it out. Like, it's a whole thing. And and people are really on board, and you can be Zeus and Aphrodite, and you can be Thor, and you can be the Wolfman, and they have all these different characters. They come out with new characters like every single week at this point. And the whole thing is just really, really cool. You guys should check it out if you can get past the tutorial, because that takes a while. And then once you do, it's home free.
All right. Jay's game of the moment.
Yes.
Smite.
Yes.
Yeah. I played do you do PC gaming at all, or is it just console?
No, it's so funny. I'm want to get into it so bad. I'm this close to downloading Steam onto my laptop. I am every single time I hear the word Steam, some awesome things come out of the person's mouth that's talking about it, and it's inching me closer to getting it. But I would definitely want to get a mouse before I do that, because my laptop is all like touch whatever.
Yeah, you do need a mouse and keyboard for PC gaming. Well, for the most part, you can actually. I've got my because I have a PC just hooked up to the TV in the living room.
Nice.
And I use my PlayStation 3 controller to play all those games mostly. Unless it's like a PC-centric game. But anyways, what I was getting at was, like League of Legends and Dota are huge right now. Mm-hmm. Like the MOBA style game. And Blizzard has one that just came out. Technically, just officially came out, although it's been in like open beta for a long time. I can't remember what the Blizzard one is called. But those games are hugely popular right now. They just had a Dota 2 tournament, which is... I don't know if you know about Dota 2, but it's basically the same game as League of Legends. I mean, there's lots of differences. People who get into it will know lots and lots of differences. But they just had a huge tournament for like $20 million in cash prizes. Like, no joke, $20 million. Something up ridiculously like that high. Wow. For these kids who are like 13, 14 years old. I mean, it makes you want to quit everything and just pick up PC gaming 24 hours a day. I mean, Jesus. Yeah, those games are pretty addictive, though. Like, if Smite is anything like League of Legends or Dota, like, the whole reason that I don't even play Dota 2 anymore is each game takes, like, 40 minutes to from start to end. And that's a pretty good time chunk of investment there. So, yeah. But, I mean... It's the same with
Smite. Like, if you go into a jousting match, which is like the least amount of time match that you can play with someone. Like, I mean, they set it up to where you have to, it's not just about attacking and killing the other enemy, even though if you do actually attack and kill another god, another player, you boost your, everything so much. But your whole point is to get through to their tower. They have a tower that shoots laser beams or whatever down upon you. So you have to destroy their tower, And then once the tower is destroyed, then you have to go destroy their Phoenix. And their Phoenix, you're not allowed to use special attacks on. You have to use a basic attack. So you're trying to kill the Phoenix. Then the gods are coming out of their tower and trying to kill you. So then you have to stop and try to kill the gods that are the other players that are coming out. Then you kill their Phoenix. Then once you kill their Phoenix, then you have to kill their Titan, which is the Titan is the one that sits in your base and heals you. When you die, you go back to your base, and and with him there, he's healing you. So then you go out and you fight. So you fight your way all the way to their Titan, and this dude comes up out of the ground and just starts hitting you, and you're just like, oh my God, I'll never win. And so you have him hitting you, they're spawning right beside him, and then they're hurling lightning bolts at you. It's the whole thing.
You're into it, yeah.
I'm
That's
a
cool,
little into it.
Yeah. All right, Jay.
All right. We have to go ahead and close this out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first episode of Press Start 2.0. Hopefully we can get some more people on this. Hopefully, if you guys would like to join, please let us know. We would love to have you talk games, talk nerdiness all night long, talk nerdy to us. We would love to hear it. My name is Jay Long. I'm here with David. I almost forgot your name. Can I use your last name, or do you want to use it?
I mean, I don't. I guess Valdez.
David Valdez.
Out there.
Oh, it's totally out there, and it's going to YouTube, straight to YouTube. And we are your hosts for tonight. The host may change, but the show will always remain the same. Don't forget, we love you. You guys have a great night, and thank you so much for listening and watching.